Karinda Jagmohan was in court and she joins me in studio now to reflect on the events of the day. Karinda, good evening to you. So quite dramatic scenes outside court when the court essentially said, okay, judgment reserved. What happened there?
Certainly, and that's when we saw the intra-party politics. Essentially, while Jabulani Khumalo was exiting court, throngs of MK members, who we can consider Zuma supporters, started chasing after Jabulani Khumalo. He had to be covered by his security detail. He managed to quickly enter his car, but then after that, we saw the supporters start throwing items at the vehicles, even cans of soda, throwing them at the vehicles, and then as the vehicle's going off, running after one person, even fell as he tried to continue chasing and then threw an orange at the car as well. So that's the scenes that sort of played out outside court. And then about half an hour later, we saw the same crowd just cheer when they saw the former president, Jacob Zuma, arrive there and then, give him a warm welcome as he gave his address. And that really just shows the issues, the challenges between the two representatives now. Yeah, and in politics, that's what they would call divisions, internal divisions. Did Jabulani Khumalo's side say anything? Did he himself get the opportunity to say anything after the court proceedings, or he immediately had to run for cover? He didn't have an opportunity, and it didn't seem like he was planning to say anything. Even before court, he didn't have any interactions with the media. Essentially, just after he was whisked away, or while he was coming outside court and we all started walking towards him, that's when the supporters saw him and started chasing him down, so he had to quickly run for cover. And I believe his lawyer had something to say after court proceedings. Certainly. So back in court, Jabulani Khumalo's argument is based on a document that was emailed to the IEC, which states his resignation, handing over the reins to Jacob Zuma. But he said that he never sent that email. That email was sent by Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, and that Khumalo claims that Duduzile Zuma Sambudla forged his signature. And these are serious allegations to make. And so essentially he says that as a result, the Commission's description of Zuma as a leader, the IEC's description of Zuma as a leader is unlawful, and that's part of his application. But take a listen to what his lawyer had to say about that forged signature.
The second most obvious example I submit are the signatures. You look at the signature on page 63, which is Mr. Khumalo's actual signature. You look at the signature on page 62, which we suggest is Ms. Zuma's signature. They are worlds apart. They look nothing like each other. This suggestion was put to the third and fourth respondents. The answer is, well, we do not know why they look different. With respect, that can't be a sustainable argument.
All right, so while we're still on the subject of signatures, so Jabulani Khumalo says his signature was forged by Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, that's former President Jacob Zuma's daughter. Did Duduzile say anything, or were there submissions coming from Duduzile's side? I guess either defending herself or trying to dismiss what Mr. Khumalo is saying in court. There had to be. There were submissions made by Advocate Dali Mpofu, who's been representing the MK party, as well as Jacob Zuma over the years. So his submission was denial of the allegations of forgery, saying that Khumalo knew the plan all along, saying that he was in the room when Duduzile Zuma Sambudla had actually sent that email, and that was a reason why there was no reason to CC him on that email as she had done before. But further to that, saying that she's now considering laying a charge of defamation, opening a criminal case because of the comments that Khumalo made through his legal counsel, and also saying that it amounts to perjury. So that is what the Zuma's counsel had to say, and also just referring to Khumalo, Khumalo's allegation that the IEC did not take into account certain structures of the MK party when defining Zuma as a leader. So there's a Regulation 9 of the Commission which states that any changes within a political party must be related to the IEC, and the elections must be communicated via the party leader or a relevant contact person. And Khumalo says that he was always the relevant contact person, not Zuma Sambudla. But the MK party, or rather Jacob Zuma's lawyers, say that, well, Duduzile Zuma Sambudla
Mandela has always been part of the MK structures, and that Khumalo is even aware of this, essentially denying everything. So take a listen to what Advocate Mpofu had to say.
This is a letter written by Mr. Khumalo on the 27th of February 2024, signed by him. He doesn't claim that this one is forged. And he says, the purpose of this letter, dear sir, is to the IEC. Dear sir, the purpose of this letter is to inform you that the MK party has resolved to hold its elective conference at all levels only after the 2024 elections. Until then, the party will be governed and led by an interim leadership corps appointed as such. So let's just pause there. So the structure that he says he doesn't know where it gets its powers, he explains to the IEC under his own handwriting that is the structure that is going to take us until after the elections.
All right. Karinda, Jagmohan, so I guess the sum total of the story here is that Jacob Zuma, the former president, is saying Jabulani Khumalo was merely an interim leader of the party. Is that the core of the message?
Certainly, that's something we just heard the advocate comment on. Zuma has always maintained that Khumalo was never the direct leader, but rather an interim leader. Even in the address to supporters afterwards, Zuma said that in his time at the ANC, when he became disgruntled about some of the choices that were made, along the way he met many fellow comrades, one of them being Khumalo, who ultimately set up the MK party because he didn't want to have the secret of opening or setting up and launching a new political party being put out too soon, and that is why he had to have Khumalo do it. Khumalo says otherwise that he was merely advised and guided by the former president. So that's where the two heads are now butting, and judgment has been reserved, so we don't have a date yet, but when it does, certainly it's going to perhaps rile up the millions of voters that came out to vote, who saw the former president essentially as the face of the MK party.
Currently, Jagmohan, summing up the developments inside court and, of course, a bit of what happened outside. Interesting times in the life of the MK party.